Are you finding yourself working remotely for the very first time, or maybe the second time, or maybe you've been at it for a little while, but you're kind of like, I don't actually know what I'm doing? It's okay. I don't always know what I'm doing either, and I've been working remotely for like a decade or a little more. So, with that being said, here are 10 ways to work remotely. Whether or not you will achieve balance, I don't know. But here are a few ways that I have worked remotely over the past decade. Things to know: working remotely is no joke, and it is not for the faint of heart. Your resolve and tenacity will be tested in the best of times. You will be brought to the brink of despair in the worst of times. But take solace in knowing that millions of your fellow humans are riding in the very same boat. Now let's cover it, shall we? Okay. In your pajamas. I have totally worked in my pajamas. It's been a thing. I think everyone does it at least once. There actually have been times where I have started writing an email or writing copy without getting out of bed. That's a little embarrassing. So I don't recommend that exactly, but it is one of the perks of working from home. So, in your pajamas. Also, in a coffee and food stained shirt that is 10 days old. This can also be done. Not recommended if you have a video day or a day where you are having meetings or you need to show up and, talk to your boss or your best client. Putting on a clean shirt is probably advisable. But I have done this too. Another thing I've done is lose my cool every 5 minutes. You can also work remotely this way. Getting upset can happen. It is a thing. And in the world we live in, whether there's a pandemic or not, sometimes working remotely and working from home is hard. So I get it. With a buddy, one of the best ways that I've been able to be efficient and productive and really intentional about my work is when I work with a buddy. Now, that being said, there are good buddies and there are less than stellar buddies when it comes to virtually co-working. You'll have to figure out who those people are for you. When I reach out to a co-working person, I try to look for people who I know will be good sounding boards and will be someone who will challenge me. They also may have insight into what I'm working on, so that if I have a moment where I'm like, hey, co-working buddy, and I like look over the cubicle, so to speak, there is someone there to say, hey, Gail, what do you need? How can I help you? Now, I don't do that every 5 minutes, but over the course of 2 hours, maybe we check in with each other a couple times and we get some real time help, just like you would if you were in a normal office. So, those are the kinds of people I look for. The next way, which we're on number 5, by the way, if you're counting, all by your lonesome. Now, this can get a little overwhelming if you do it all the time. For me, I need a blend. So there are tasks that I need to do or projects I need to complete without anybody else around. Usually for me, that's website building, coding, anything that I need to like use all of my brain power to map things out and think things through. Most of that has to happen without anyone else around. So that's how I think about what I need to do, how much brain power, and then I decide if I want a buddy or not for that. Number 6, with intention. What does this mean? Because isn't everything we do intentional? When I use the phrase working with intention, I'm talking about doing the things that need to be done and will make the difference in your job, business, or career. This means that, posting one more tweet isn't going to make someone buy your stuff, quite frankly. Maybe it will. Maybe you have a really wicked Twitter account and you know that every time you tweet, you get a sale. Then by golly, you tweet away. But for the majority of people, Twitter, Facebook, posting, fake posting, whatever it is, it's just extraneous crap. Now, that personal outreach in an email that says, hey, I know you've been struggling with this thing. Here's this thing I created. I think it might solve the problem. Do you want to get on a call and talk about it and see if it could help? That is something that is going to be way more impactful than a tweet. On to number 7, aimlessly. I have worked aimlessly. I have done the rounds. I have checked the email. I have made a whole project out of Deleting emails, usually that happens when I don't want to do something. So when I procrastinate and when I feel like I'm working aimlessly, usually it means that I'm procrastinating on something and I need to go back and revisit what I need to work on and what is actually on my priority list. And usually when I do that, I can figure out why the heck I'm feeling aimless. Number 8, with laser focus and maximum efficiency. So while this is my favorite way to work, it isn't sustainable. I try to do it in short sprints. I love the Pomodoro method, which is a way to work through different things. So usually in 25-minute sprints, 20-minute sprints, depending on who you are. And I will put a link to that in the description somewhere. I found that this is the most effective way for me to work because I like the breaks, I like the sprints, and it forces me to think about projects and tasks in time frames. So if I know something's going to take me more than a certain amount of time, like say 15 minutes, then maybe I spread it out over a couple of Pomodoros, or I just say I need to carve out an hour. I'm not going to palm it, I'm just going to do it. But if I know I have a task that's only going to take 5 minutes, but I just hate it, I palm that. So that is how you do that. Number 9, this was crowdsourced and voted on, by the way, with all the snacks. So working remotely with all the snacks. In order to keep doing this thing we do, we need sustenance. I can tell you that working from home, I have gone through ups and downs and waves and valleys and mountains and all sorts of different ways to eat or not eat. If I'm not paying attention, I can easily not eat until 2 p.m. And then I make really crappy choices for the rest of the night. And then when I wake up in the morning, I feel like shit. And then it starts all over again. So, with all the snacks, for me, means paying attention to what I'm eating, when I'm eating, and really what I'm eating. Also, water intake. Water intake is important. It's easy to forget to drink water when you're at home. Last but not least, number 10, do it outside. I love the fact that the way I have set up my workspace and the tools that I have to work with mean that I can actually go outside and work if I want to. I can take my laptop, I can take my notebook, I can take whatever it is I need, and I can go work out in my backyard. Now, I'm lucky enough to live in a somewhat rural area, and so there are woods behind me, and I have this great big grassy yard, and it's beautiful out when the sun is out. It's currently snowing, but that's beside the point. So, the actual activities I like doing outside are writing, usually anything creative, brainstorming things. And sometimes it's the time where I make myself go and really sit with the hard goals and the hard things that I want to accomplish that feel really big and gnarly and nasty. And I think about what that looks like, what it feels like, and then it helps me like start breaking down, okay, what do I need to do to actually get to that? And that's what I like doing outside. Also, I like wiggling my toes in the grass. It just makes me feel better. So if you've never done that, you should try that out. So, last thing to know that I wanted to throw out there is that if you have been used to being in an office and you've been working 9 to 5 or a regular type schedule like that, be ready for the fact that when you're working from home, except for like meetings that you have to be in and stuff, the work that took you 8 hours before may only take you 4 or less. And that's okay. You don't need to fill the other 4 hours. Depending on your work stuff, that's just my suggestion. You don't have to find things to do, especially if you're not hourly. If you're getting the work done, obviously you need to make that arrangement with your employer. However, just be prepared for that to happen because that's what happened to me. And it also meant that when I needed to go get a regular office job after working at home for 10 years for myself, I was ridiculously efficient. It was insane. I would go into an office job and I would smash a 40-hour work week into 20 or 15 or 10, which was a little insane. However, it meant I went home and got to work more. So that's another story for a different video. Just be aware that it might not take you as long to do your job as it has in the past. And that's okay. Go take a safe walk and or catch up on that Netflix series you want to watch. So, that is 10 ways to work remotely. 10 ways I have personally done it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Wherever you are, I hope you take the steps to hear from me again, and I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day.